It's a real kick in the teeth to spend your whole life doing your best to get good, only to learn that you still have a long way to go and you gotta work on this part of your game. Lately, I've been getting out in the bars and forums and playing legitimate players, and I'm playing well, and I have my break worked, and everything is going great. And that might be coming with a little bit of arrogance, and I'll explain why that could be a factor in what's going on right here on this pool table when this run out is done. So we're going to save it until it's done and just let it roll.
Break something out. Didn't. Put a bunch in there.
Didn't do what I wanted to do. I thought I'd get a 2-4 combination in the corner, but it just didn't work.
And we came back together. Versus, didn't really have a shot on that. Just maybe 15. Right, 9.
At the start of a pool game, my mind is geared on finding the problem balls on this table. And although the 4 ball isn't tied up, it's still a problem because I only have one legitimate pocket for it, and that's this side pocket here. So all my focus is going toward this 4 ball, and I know I need to be somewhere around straight in on the 3 in order to get a shot on the 4 ball in that side. The problem was when I started this game, I took the 1, the 2, and the 3 for granted. I saw they're actually all 3 on the same side of the table. It should not be an issue, so let's go ahead and proceed. As for the other balls, I just kind of glanced at them too, and I didn't see any problems, so I didn't give it a whole lot of thought. This could be stemming from just being a little bit overconfident and a little bit arrogant. Now, if we look at this 1 ball shot, I should be out toward center table to have the right angle on the 2 to stay along that right-hand side rail to get straight in on the 3 ball. Instead, I'm stuck with this, and now I have to go 2 rails to get back on the 3 to try to get a decent shape on the 3, knowing that I have obstruction balls in my way and I'm heading straight toward traffic. It's a result of not thinking. It's a result of taking balls for granted, and you cannot do that in pool. And of course, I wind up hitting the 5 ball and getting off angle on the 3. So now I got to bring out my A game and shoot a very difficult drag shot on the 3 in order to hold the cue ball up off the rail and get right on the 4 ball. So great, now I'm back in line. Let's get my head in it. There's no problem on the 4, everything's fine on the 5. But then I get a little bit iffy on the 6, and instead of going around the right hand side of the 8 ball, I have to come up on the left hand side of the 8 ball to get right on the 7. Still, it's not a big deal. The problem comes on shooting the 7 and overthinking it now. Now my mind's all there, and I want to shoot this right, and I want to get perfect on the 8 ball, which for me is the right hand side of this table and the left hand side of the 8 ball line in order to make the 8 ball in this side and just roll it down for the 9. That's what I want to do. So I tried to do this. All I had to do was shoot this 7 and stun it to the rail and just make sure I don't get stuck on the rail and take a little bit of a hard shot on the 8, but still perfectly viable to get on the 9. Instead, I cut it all loose, and I can't put top left on this to go 1, 2, 3, 4 rails. So I have to put left hand bottom on it to try to get up underneath that 9 ball, which is just insanely stupid. I'm trying too hard here to get perfect on the 8 when I don't have to be perfect on the 8. And what happened is the 7 ball took all the English off that ball. Well, most of it, not all of it. And all that happened was I wound up right by the 9 ball and a terribly difficult shot on the 8 ball. I overthought it when all I had to do was stun it out to the right hand rail and keep it simple. It's like building a house, if you start out with a crooked foundation. Good luck building the rest of it. So it's really important to get the game. Start it right and knowing what you're going to do on all 9 balls, or however many balls are left on the table. Okay, let's take a look at another one, and we'll watch it all the way through, and then we'll go back and I'll show you where I screwed this up and why I screwed it up.
Got that rascal.
I don't know. As long as I get paid for that. See, you do that right here if I did. Children can't remember.
Well, this game was a whole lot better than the first game. Once I got back in line and out of trouble, I want to show you a point in this game where, again, I just take balls for granted and I don't think it through, and my confidence is just a little bit too high. I need to come down here a little bit, step back, and do some more thinking. So my agenda here is to get on the 3-ball line, and that's fine. And I'm looking at the 4-ball line, and I want to get on that line too, but back here. And what happened was I didn't stun it out. I'm on the rail, and now the whole plan was to draw this cue ball back off the 3 and automatically be on the 4-ball line to easily get on the 5 and proceed to run this rack. But here I am on the rail, knowing that I can't get on the 4-ball from here while I'm on the rail unless I jack way up and take a big chance of deflecting this cue ball and going way offline and missing the 3. These shots are missed all the time. You never want to be jacked up like this. All I had to do was stun that ball off the rail. I'd still be on the 3-ball line. And now I could easily draw back to get on the 4-ball line. And from there, it's like tic-tac-toe. So that one little moment of thoughtlessness could have lost me this game. One of the most common mistakes for the better players is taking things for granted and not thinking it through. A player will glance at a table and see a pattern and say, okay, if I do this and this, I'm out, no big deal, get down and shoot it. And then suddenly find themselves on the wrong side of, the line on one of these balls, which means they're going to have to move the cue ball too much and do too much, and there's no surefire way to continue the rack because you're a little iffy on where the cue ball's going when you do that to compensate, so it just turns into a train wreck. One more? Okay, one more.
He played at least 5 leads on it. He got 3 ball hands in a row. And only had 2 balls left. He could run the table. Could have run the table. No, he has to shoot a lead. I don't understand that logic.
That's what I didn't understand. He had perfect shape to run the table out and he'll still play a lead.
I think he goes just a sophisticated.
I think he's a closet snooker player.
What would you expect for a Yankee? Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh, I knew that one was just a little bit off.
After I finish running this and we go over analyzing it, I'm going to run an outro of a 7-minute vlog type video of me talking about the mental side of pool and billiards and how incredibly vital this is. You see me nicking the 6-ball right there, which I was really trying hard not to do. But it turned out to be okay. Still, you never ever want to hit another ball on the table unless you're trying to do it in order to break out clusters or get a ball off the rail or move balls out of the way of the pocket for other balls. You always want to do it on purpose. And I knew there was a chance on it, and I was trying hard not to do it. It's just that my plan did not work. The real problem comes on how I got on the 7-ball, which was straight in, and that comes down to how I shot the 6-ball, which was not good, and another momentary lapse of concentration and just taking it for granted. it's not good. So here's the shot we have on the 6, and I shoot this and wind up getting straight in on the 7 when all I had to do is put a little right hand English on that 6-ball shot, and it would have bounced down to about here on the left hand side of the 7-ball line, and we could have played that right hand side route to get perfect on the 8. So I seriously considered playing a power draw shot on the 7-ball, but I decided not to and just take a little more difficult shot on the 8-ball because the natural line going back to the 9 was perfect. And it can work against you in the opposite way too, where you're overthinking things and trying too hard, which is adding nervous tension, which is throwing your body off and tightening you up. And your player will look at it, the pattern and say, okay, I can do everything, but I only have one pocket for the 4-ball. So here's what I have to do, and if I don't do it, I'm going to lose this game, I'm going to lose the match. And just add all this pressure, so they're overthinking it, they try too hard, and that's when good players make mistakes. It's because what's going on in your head is affecting what your body's doing. So the best players in the world are experts at walking that line. There's a definite line in there of not trying hard enough and trying too hard. And it all starts in your mental process and then transfers to your body. So there is such a thing as trying too hard and putting too much pressure on yourself to be perfect. No one's perfect. So while pool takes a high level of concentration, and that's no secret, you just can't let that transfer to trying too hard and transfer to nervous energy and making mistakes. So if you know that you're a good player, you're just a little inconsistent, this is probably what's going wrong. So you're concentrating hard and you're playing well and you're getting great position and the game suddenly seems easy. You can't let that transfer to taking things for granted and not trying hard enough. So at the risk of sounding too weird or sound like, it really does come down to mastering your own mind and body at the same time to kind of work together as one thing. And most players, if they practice at all, it's their physical game and they spend absolutely no time on their mental game. And that's a big mistake. And most players also don't spend enough time on their break, which is everything if you're playing 9-ball and 8-ball. There's a long-standing conversation or debate on why some pool players just get great really quick. If you look at a guy like Skylar Woodward, who's been winning tournaments since he was like 12 years old, it's like, how can this possibly be that this kid plays so incredibly great, and I spent my whole life and I'm just a little above average? So people say, he just has natural talent, he's just had it, he's just had what it takes. And I don't think it's physical talent. I think what people are missing in this conversation is what's happening in Skylar's head. So, if there's any natural ability Skylar had Skylar had the ability to concentrate at a high level without trying too hard. So if you watch him play, it's like he's getting ready for a picnic. It's like nothing matters, nothing bothers him. But that's because you're not seeing what's in his head, what's going on in his head, an incredible high level of concentration. You're just seeing his physical ability. And this is why you can watch the pros all day long, and there's a limit on how much you can learn, because you're only learning what he's doing physically. You're not learning what's going on in his head. So some people are born with this mental capacity to concentrate at a high level without putting so much pressure on themselves that they dog shots, they try too hard, they try to do too much with the cue ball, and they're banging in the balls. They're getting themselves in even worse trouble. And Skylar gets himself in trouble. He gets bad position occasionally. He makes mistakes, but he has this uncanny ability to get out of bad situations without doing crazy stuff. And that's a mental thing.